Oh, I have no counter because Rocky deleted it. But hello and welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. We do recover. I'm here with Jason. How do you say your last name? Rundeen?
Rudy,
What is it?
Rudeen.
Rudeen. Okay, Jason
Yeah,
Rudeen. I
yes.
He was introduced to me by a friend of mine named Cynthia, which you all got to see on one of these episodes. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Let's just kind of get right into it. Let's hear a little bit about your story, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Well, like you said, my name's Jason Rudeen. I am one of the hosts of the Way Out podcast, which we have 407 episodes, I believe, currently. We release one every week. It's been going since 2014. I joined the show a couple of years after that, like I think in 2017, I was about, I think, a year clean at the time. I just celebrated 8 years sobriety yesterday
Well,
on my
congratulations.
birthday. Thanks. It is my birthday too, and that was weird how that works out because it wasn't in the plan, but here we are. And the best birthday present ever, right? So can't complain about that.
No.
So yeah, I host the Way Out podcast, and then I'm also one of the hosts of Recovery Revolution Live, which we've been on hiatus for a while, but hopefully we will come back. Um, but we have a little over 100 episodes up for that show as well. And then let's see, I'm also a recovery coach. I'm a Stephen minister, which is pretty much the same thing as like peer recovery specialist, except with the faith element. You know,
Okay.
I'm the caregiver. God's the cure giver. Uh, you know, there's a big prayer emphasis with it, and but it involves a lot of the same training and a lot of the same boundaries. You have to know your boundaries, right? Your limits. Like,
Yeah.
am I qualified to help this person? If not, I better be ready to direct them towards the right resources and not think that I'm gonna fix them because it's not how this works. Uh, so yeah, I very much since I found a sustainable and meaningful recovery, I found purpose, I found God, I found my faith, and I definitely developed a heart for service through that journey, and I've been giving back as much as I can ever since. I'm also one of the founding board members of one of the soon to be newest RCO in Minnesota called Recovery Cafe in Oak County. We're still putting that together. It is not up and running yet. We don't have a building yet. The website's built, but it's not up and running yet for the public. But
I
it's
was
coming
wondering
together
what
quick.
that was on your. I was Facebook stalking after Cynthia gave me your name because I wanted to familiarize myself. I don't know you, so I wanted to be like, okay, what can I ask him about? And that was going to be one of my questions. I think
Well, we could definitely. There's a lot to it, and stuff. So I definitely didn't give too much spoilers at all about what it is. Um, people think a bunch of different things when they hear the name. So yeah, I'll definitely be able to answer questions about that. But I don't know. So that's kind of like some of the stuff I do in recovery and the purpose that I've found in my life, just to be able to offer some of value to the stream of life is really the greatest part about all this. I always say I used to work for the devil and I switched teams, and I'm grateful to have been given the chance to live two totally different lives in one lifetime. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
it's crazy. Like I should not be here. I should definitely be dead. I got years of battling with, the hustler mentality. I was a dope dealer from an early age. Started shooting up at a very early age. Battled with that needle till I was 36. I mean, I got to the point where I thought I had done such irreparable damage to my brain and my spirit that I didn't think I would ever be able to be like a upstanding citizen or you know a worthwhile member of society, or
Right.
let alone like a let alone like a provider or a decent father or a decent partner or any of those things. So, gratefully you learn about the chemicals in your brain and how long it takes for it to recover from certain substances and from meth, it's like, which was one of I do any drug, let's be real,
Yeah.
but that was like my kryptonite.
Was that your
And they
DOC?
say, yeah, that would have been like the one that really always destroyed everything without fail.
Right.
Uh, but but they say that it can take up to 2 years before your brain's chemistry repairs itself, before it can create the dopamine and serotonin and stuff that it needs to the way it's supposed to, or at least something close to that. And
Yeah.
and then anhedonia is the inability to experience pleasure or joy from simple, daily activities.
Yeah.
And I really suffered with that for a long time in my early recovery. But thankfully, everything did exactly what they teach you in the treatment programs and stuff when you're going through all that. And it did repair itself over time. You just got to persevere through it and
Yep.
don't give
Just
up.
keep going through. There were times in the beginning of my recovery, especially when I started out getting clean from meth, which I am also 8 years and 3 months clean
Nice.
from
There
meth.
you go.
So, and then I in September I'll have 3 years off the booze, and I was doing real good, and then I thought, hey, COVID happened, so I'm gonna isolate and drink myself to death. I can't have my celebrate or my. I had a CMA group that I had started, and they shut that down, and I wasn't into the online stuff like this, and I dove headfirst into the bottle. But I came out of that too. Like it was almost, it felt exactly like when I stopped doing dope. Just sick of it. You know what I mean? Sick and tired of being
Yeah.
sick and tired, not having that stability or anything, not being able to think clearly, can't finish any shit. I still have problems with that now.
Right? You would be both, sister. I love it. I'm always like squirrel.
Yes, yes,
I always
consistent.
tell people don't mind me. I'll like go off on rabbit trails and tangents, and that's all right. Like it always comes back to the point. It's like for whatever reason, if it's on your heart to go for a walk around the park to get back to the point you were trying to make originally, well, let's go. you
Right,
know,
right. Sometimes I forget my original point too.
that's how I feel.
uh so back to like your early recovery, how well did you do in your early recovery? Like were you when you first started, was it one of those pieces where you're like, I'm sick of it and I gotta quit, or was it the courts or where you're like, fuck you, I'm not doing this. That sort of thing. Was it hard or was it easy to settle into?
I know it was not easy, and I'm one of them people that learns by bashing my head into the same wall 100 times. Eventually, maybe I will stop before I smash my face into it again. And that was pretty much how it went. I'll never forget the first time that I knew I needed help. I was really suicidal, and I, uh, I like exploded with rage at my job towards this manager at the time, and I told her to take this job and shove it up her ass, and it felt good. I was drunk when I did that, and then I was off to the races, and it didn't take long before I was seriously considering suicide, and you know, I was asking this one of my at the time closest buddies, Dylan is his name, uh, desperately asking him like, I need help. Like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do you do that? Like, I had no clue about any of this recovery stuff at that time. And I was 27. I was in 2007. So, I mean, I was 27 then, and I didn't seek help again after that time. So I did put myself in treatment in 2007. But I never sought help again until I was 36. So we're talking almost another decade of running and gunning. But I
Right.
did mean it. I did mean it when I went to treatment that first time. I'll never forget. He was just like, he knew exactly, what to do. He was like, you go to the Health and Human Services building and tell them that you want a Rule 25. He's like, ask for Darwin. That dude's the shit. He'll hook you up. And I was like, thanks, man. So I did that. And I was high off my ass. I was shooting a bunch of stuff at the time and doing a lot of this stuff called 2CB. I don't know if any of you guys ever heard of that, but it's like a synthetic hallucinogen drug. Is literally like less. And if you guys are watching and you don't know nothing about powders and stuff, you probably won't know. But it's like a half of a tenth of a gram, like literally probably like the tip of a sharp pencil amount in a
Oh,
little
is it
gel tab.
that stupid that 8 ball stuff out of the smoke shops, the synthetic
No,
shit from
this
back
is
in the day?
not.
Like
This
Spice?
is not. You cannot buy this in stores, my friend.
Oh, okay.
This shit would make you trip hard as fuck for like 12 hours. And I got a good deal on it. It was like $1 or $2 a pill, and I bought like 100 of them. And I thought, and I don't know why I bought so many. I guess I thought everybody was gonna go bananas over the shit, which is not what happened. But so I just had a bunch of it. Like I actually ended up shooting that stuff up
God
when I
damn.
was feeling suicidal and stuff. But I got myself hooked up with the Rule 25, and they told me it was going to be like 2 weeks or something where I could get a bed, and I ended up like going into a hardcore fluff psychosis like 2 days later or something, and I was like, I called there and I broke down to this lady I've never talked to in my life, and I told her I didn't think I was gonna make it. And then she called back and said, you know, that she found me a quicker placement. So, thank God for that. And then I went in there flying high, and I always look back every time I went to treatment, pretty much every
Oh, you cut out. Your sound cut
Dude,
out.
this dude's calling me.
Oh, oh no.
I told him. I messaged him and told him that I was doing an interview. So I don't know why he's calling me. Um, but yeah, I got help there. And I learned everything I could, and it worked out for a little bit. But there was, as there is when you're starting the journey, there was always things that I thought I didn't have to do, right? Or like when I don't know if you can relate to this, but like I would pick the things that I thought, okay, I can do that, but like I'm not gonna do that, and I'll be fine. No, dude. Like people, places, and things. They told me I needed to give those things up, and I still think that people neglect to share this with newcomers in recovery is that you can't do it without replacing them. You need to find new people, new places, new things.
Yeah.
You can't you can't just if you
It's
remove
all
all that
gotta
stuff,
change.
if you remove that stuff that's great, but then you're left with this big empty hole is the way it felt to me, you know?
Yeah.
And and so I was like it wasn't long before I was drinking again, and then I'm poking when he's outside the bar, and then pretty soon I'm like, "Hey, you got some coke, some blow, some meth. What do you got? Yeah, let's party." So yeah, and then I didn't get help again until I was, like I said, 36, so almost a decade later. But and then when I did, it was because I caught a charge. I was selling meth and a myriad of other drugs, but that was being investigated for my meth sales because I was selling in large quantities of meth, and I got popped with a bunch, and I uh, I had to stop selling it, but I couldn't stop using it, and I was scared. I was scared to
Right.
I didn't want to catch a second charge because I knew I'd go, and I'd go for a long time. Luckily, I didn't go back. They tried real hard to tempt me into it and offered to pay for a lawyer for me and all this shit, and I just wasn't willing to do it. I said can't leave my son alone in this world, man. And luckily, I just kept trying because I kept falling on my face. I was in and out of the rooms. I went to like 5 different treatments that next 2 years, and I literally pretty much wore out. I burned every bridge, called in every favor. I almost collected every penny. I think I only was like a few hundred short of money I had like out on fronts in the street from before I got popped, which is surprising that I even recovered that much of that. Every toy that I ever traded a half gram for got sold, you know, for dope. I think I was down. I think I was down to like my laptop and my TV, and I was like, I'm not getting rid of these, and I didn't, but it was nuts. And I was alone for most of that. For there was like 4 months where I was completely isolated, just shooting up in my bedroom with butter knives in the door and weapons all around me because I was in constant state of psychosis, thinking people were
Paranoid. You
gonna
got
come.
people in the bushes. Fucking.
Oh, I
They
thought
got your
people were
phone
gonna
tapped.
fucking rip cord down off of my roof and my window. Yeah, I was tripping, and I was to the point where I was having full-fledged conversations with voices, you know,
God
and
damn.
I would go through all the emotions, like argumentative to angry to like sadness to like apologetic and like begging and pleading and all this shit, like with voices of people that were not there, you know.
Damn.
I ended up going through a really hardcore. I've been through so many psychoses, but I went through this one that just really shattered my soul. I reached out to a guy that I used to have his number in my phone as my sponsor, but I wasn't really like ever using him. I just like had his name in there and it said Jason sponsor, so I could go, look, I have a sponsor, and I could show you the screen so you're gonna believe me, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't doing none of the work and shit. And I called this dude, and I remember he never answered for me. And this morning he did, and I was like, whoa. And he listened to me rant for a few minutes about some stuff, some craziness, and he just cut me off and he said, grab a piece of paper and a pen. And I was like, all right. And he's like, I need you to write this list down. He's like, I want you to do this list every day. And if you do it, then I'll work with you. Right. So I said, all right, shoot. And he's like, all right. So you're going to call me every day. That's the first thing on the list. So, okay, call Jason. If he doesn't answer, leave a message, he said. And he said, you're going to tell me 3 things you're grateful for. Okay. You're going to tell me 1 thing you're doing for your recovery today. Okay. And then he's like, and I want you to say a prayer of some sort every day. Whether you believe or not, it doesn't matter. Just say the words. It doesn't even matter what you say. He's like, you could say, hey, God, I'm here. Is there anybody out there? Are you listening? I'm here. You know, he's like, I don't care. Just something to at least try to acknowledge or open yourself up to the possibility that there's something bigger than you. He's like, you can't really, he's like, aside from telling me about what it's like for you, he's like, I can't hold you accountable on that. But if you really want this, you'll fucking do what I say. I was like, you got it, boss. I mean, this dude, I would have wore purple socks every day if he told me I had to wear purple socks. I didn't care at that point. I was like desperate, you know, gift of desperation. And he did. He said, and then you're gonna call your job and tell them that you're not coming in today because it was like 7 in the morning and I'm in the, you know, midst of a absolute freak out psychosis and I'm supposed to be to work at like 8. He's like, he's like, you're gonna call. He's like, you're gonna call and tell them you're not coming, and you not only that, but you're gonna tell them that you fucked up. Because I had already been fired from that job, and then they gave me a second chance and hired me back, and I wasn't using at the time, but I started using it literally like right away after I got in there again.
Yeah.
And then he said, and then I want you to call and set up therapy because you've been talking about it for the last 6 months and you ain't done shit. You need it. He said, you got to come clean to someone because your secrets are fucking me all up. So I did this shit, right? Like right after I got on the phone with him, I was like, I called my boss first. We ended up talking for a half hour. He told me he was going to have to get back to me.
Yeah.
He's like, just sleep it off. Give me a couple days. If you don't hear from me in a couple days, call me and we'll go from there. I'm like, great. But I already, just from that one phone call, I felt such a fucking massive weight lift off of me. Like, it was insane. And then I called and set up therapy. And I had to answer a bunch of questions for them, you know, kind of like an over the phone intakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the end of those 2 phone calls, well, 3 phone calls, if you want to, you know, because obviously the first one was to that dude.
Yeah.
But man, psychosis was done. ended up actually having like the most productive day ever that day. I cleaned the fuck out of my mom's house. I was feeling great, jamming tunes. I was in a good mood. I felt light on my feet, like I'm doing something positive. I'm doing something positive. It was really an awesome experience for me because it was like the first I ever felt the power of like honesty and accountability.
Right.
Even from before when I tried recovery kind of in 2007, I never really experienced that fully. And a big reason why I think is because I had so many like reservations, so many like pieces of it that I wasn't willing to accept. I never gave anybody the benefit of the doubt back then. I did not trust the people in the room. I met the one guy that I did try to work the steps with back then was I only picked him because he was a needle user too. And then we were like up to my fifth step or something, and we were kind of, I think we had just did the fifth step, and like that next week at the meeting he announced in front of the group that he fucked up and relapsed, and then he was walking past me and he just like stopped next to me and put his hand on my shoulder, and he like whispered in my ear, "I'm sorry, bud, but I can't be your sponsor no more." And I just was like,
Oh.
I left that day and I was fucked up. I was mad, and I was like, I'm fuck this shit. This shit don't work, blah blah blah. But that's not true. It's they say it right in the 12th principle. If you're a 12-step person, you got the or tradition, 12 tradition states that, it's principles before
Principles for
personalities.
personalities. Yeah.
And it's important to remember. Yeah, it's important to remember that when you're learning all these coping mechanisms and tools and uh, principles and values that you should like kind of live your life by, that that's the stuff that counts. That's the stuff that those are the actions that'll change you from the inside out. And this program or any program or this whole wide fucking world, actually, for that matter, is full of sick people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
super important to remember that, we have a choice, right? Like, what are we gonna do moving forward? We may not be able to change our thinking 100% or the way our feelings respond to stuff, but we can pause and we can make a thoughtful response instead of a knee jerk reaction to things. And if you do that, it's going to be a lot better for you.
Well, right.
So,
See, I didn't. I did 12-step treatments, but I did the things you're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna do this, but I'm not gonna do that. I've never really had a sponsor ever in my life. I got people that I call if I need to, but ultimately I was always like, no, it's my choice. They're not gonna fucking stop me from using if I don't want to use, and uh so when I got into the cognitive behavioral therapy and all of their tools and stuff, literally rewired my fucking brain. Yeah, maybe I still go off the track sometimes with my emotions. 9 times out of 10, because I've been doing it for so long, I can stop, step back, take a look at something and be like, okay, well, maybe that reaction wasn't so great. And as you keep practicing those tools and putting them into use into your life, living by those
yep.
principles, like regardless if it's the 12 steps or cognitive behavioral tools, if you're living by those principles with that set of tools, like openly on a daily basis, it becomes a healthy habit. It becomes a healthy
It's true.
habit, and you're
And
not
then,
you're
you know what?
yeah.
across all those different types of therapy out there, across all those different types of modalities of recovery or faith systems, belief systems, it's all, if you look at all the different kind of stuff, it's like all really the same, like
It all
universal
comes from the
truths.
same well. That's what I say. I'm not a
Amen. It's the
Christian.
same. It's the same source,
Yeah.
and that's what's so cool about it. It's like the bottom line is all you have to have is the desire to be different, to be better, and you're gonna find what fits you, on that journey, and that can be as unique as you are, and it will be. Like that's why I love peer support. That's why I love being a recovery coach. And that's why I love doing the podcast, is because we get to talk to so many different people from all different walks of life, from all different sides of this, you know, addiction, alcoholism, recovery, even, you know, like some of the interviews aren't even with people that are in recovery. It's like people that have lost someone, or people that are in like family recovery or codependency, or judges, and all sorts of cool shit, cops, and people that are in like the political side, like legislation advocates and stuff like that. It's like just getting to learn, man, and that's what it's about. Like
Have
I
you
think
been involved in a lot of that? Like talking to people on the political side or the courts and whatnot?
like
Now in your sobriety, like advocating for others, have you been
yeah,
involved in that kind of thing?
I mean, obviously with all the podcasting, it's that's what that is. But I've also been connected for the last few years to Mobilize Recovery, which is a nationwide initiative, and they're just trying to like really educate and empower people who have the heart but not the know-how, and
Yeah.
they'll equip you with the tools and the resources and the support and the community that you need to help you succeed. You know how many people, like all these RCOs, these recovery community organizations that are popping up around here and everywhere in the country, you know how many of those are started simply by a person like you or me who just has a heart for it, has a vision, but has
Right.
no idea how to do it. And all you do is you keep networking, you keep meeting people, you keep bringing up this idea, and you'll find people that'll come alongside you and teach you how to do it. Maybe it's a little piece of how to do it, but eventually it'll all come together in a really divine way. And that's it right there. I mean, I think the heart of a sustainable and meaningful recovery, as well as to be able to be any kind of change maker, whether it's on the legislative or boots on the ground, trying to save lives in your community. It's all a big piece of any of that stuff is this idea of networking, and because it takes a village.
Right.
We can't do this alone, but we can do it together, and we can do things that we never thought were humanly possible for us to do when we do it with others. So
And
it's like,
sometimes it's even just the little things, like little thing, like right away when you get sober, you know, you don't ever think you're gonna own a house or you can't buy your own vehicle or you can't, like all of those little things. I can't go to PTA meetings and I can't go to my kids' band concerts and shit like that. It's like I don't miss anything anymore. you know, and I
Right.
never thought I would be like that. And I did. I bought my own house and I bought my own vehicle and I got, you know, so many things. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had I still been using. Fuck, I'd probably be in prison or dead.
Yeah. Same. Yep. I don't know how many times I've said I didn't know I could do that,
Yeah.
on this journey. And, and I always say, if I only got what I originally wanted out of this choice to try to recover, it would have been selling me so short. Like, I've been blessed beyond measure. And and I have no doubt that the blessings will continue to come, and hopefully the amount of lives that I can touch will continue to grow. Um, things keep falling in my lap. Doors keep opening before me, and it's up to me to reach out to my support network and use them as helpful tools to help me discern what's the right path,
Well, yeah, that's a positive alliance.
because you can't just willy nilly, do stuff. You gotta like test it. Like my sponsor says, you gotta run things through a litmus test, and a lot of times that's all you gotta do is like talk to three people that you trust, that they have your best interest at heart, and you trust their judgment, and you trust that they're wise, and see what they say. And if those things are in alignment with what you want, then maybe it's the right course of action. But like, you should definitely like, it's like any major decision, especially in early recovery, dude. Like, don't make them on your own. Like,
Yeah.
get help, utilize the supports you have, because
Ask
I know
people.
my my poor sponsor, the first 2 years, maybe three, he was my brain, dude. Like, I didn't know what to do about nothing. I was probably calling him, asking him about some crazy shit that was just probably sounded stupid as hell, but I was dead ass serious. I didn't know what to do, and I was having panic attacks and shit about it.
Right.
I needed guidance, and we all do. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
No, not at all.
It's good to feel it's good too, because if things do fall in line with each other, then you feel validated, understood, and more confident that you're making the correct choice. It really significantly reduces the anxiety moving forward. Because I don't care how positive an idea you have, any change causes stress, and stress is anxiety causing as well. So, you need support, whether it's good life changes or hard life changes or walking through consequences. Like, that's what we are all here for each other for. Don't expect the people that you've harmed and you're using to just be able to drop that, forgive you, and be there for you in that way. That's why you need your
No,
recovery community.
you can't expect that, but I have found, especially over the past, 15 years or so of being in and out of recovery, that people, if they see that you're a different human being long enough, they see you doing the right things for long enough, eventually they come around. Like, I've had some people even recently that I wasn't really, we weren't friends, we had beef, stupid shit, and like, in my sobriety, like, I've been able to sit someplace with somebody that I couldn't fucking stand, and we end up walking away giving each other a hug, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you change so fucking dramatically that uh, it's
Mhm.
like a big fucking flag in your face, like, hello, that's not who they are anymore. This person is genuine. And like, maybe that grudge that you were holding
Right.
that whole time didn't have anything to fucking do with them. Maybe it had something to do with you and your
Right.
inability to let go.
Right, but I guess the point I'm making is that it's like
Yeah,
we're
sorry.
only responsible for the. We're no, you're good because you're right. Those miracles do happen, and things, relationships and stuff will be restored that you really thought were broken beyond repair. Uh, but conversely, sometimes people aren't willing to look long enough to even see that, or they don't trust it, or you can't fall into the trap of like expectation or entitlement when it comes to this journey because I've been doing good and why haven't they forgiven me yet? It just opens the door for that kind of thinking, like, and you
Yeah.
can get resentful, and it is a trap because that's the same kind of stuff that can derail a person's recovery. It's like just
Well,
knowing that
that's
that wholehearted effort,
self-sabotaging.
yeah,
That
and
it is.
and some people's opinion just won't change that easy. Time, time and consistency is your best friend. Like if you if you're upset because the relationship's not repaired yet, uh, well, if they do decide to give you another chance, what do you want them to find? Do you want them to find the you that's still doing good, or do you want them to find the you that got so wrapped up in resentment because they never came back around, and then you threw it
Right.
away? You know, so it's just like keeping that focus inward, I guess, and trusting the process because some people take longer to come around than others. But your recovery community will always, we don't shoot our wounded. We lift each other up when we need it, and then we get the chance to do that for others when they need it. We're also each other's mirrors. I don't know about you, but I'm always the last one to know when shit's going on with me. But you can see it plain as
Yeah.
day, and you call me on my bullshit, right?
Yep.
You let me know, and then I'm like, I'm not the way I used to be back in the day, where I'd be like, fuck that, telling me, what are you telling me, I'm like, no, now I'll actually like sit and thoughtfully consider what you said, and maybe I can actually be honest with myself and say, he's right, I need to look at that,
It's
because it's
hard
always
sometimes. It's hard sometimes to be like, okay, take that radical accountability and responsibility for your actions and the things that you've done, or that, I
right,
even now sometimes I, I'm like, fuck no, I ain't doing that bullshit. And then come back after I've thought about it for a little bit, like, yeah, okay, maybe you're right, and I do need to change my attitude or
or
something
after I
like that.
tried it my way and I just made it fucking worse, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like we say on the Way Out podcast all the time. It's like character defect whack a mole. This journey of recovery, every once in a while, the spotlight will go to this thing over here, and you're like, oh, I gotta fucking work on that, damn. And then it's over on this thing over here, and you're just like, dude, our work here is truly never done, and then I can start thinking I'm getting it together pretty good, and something something's gonna shine the light, and I'm gonna be like, gotta work on that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
those
working on
triggers, those little triggers. Now, a lot of the time, like when I get triggered by somebody and I start to get all up in arms about it, like, okay, what is it
it.
that I'm seeing in them that's causing me to react emotionally like this? Why, what am I
Right?
seeing? And then you think of a half a dozen times that you've acted like that, and you just want to shake the person and be like, stop doing that. I've done it too. God damn it. Stop.
Yep. And we have to learn. That's another thing is that whole concept of live and let live, and letting people have the freedom to make their own mistakes and learn their lessons because we are all autonomous beings and we deserve to be treated as such. Nobody wants to have somebody telling them how to live their life or what they have to do,
Oh
right?
shoot, what did I do? Oh, wait.
Right. You
I
change the view.
Yeah, I don't know how I was doing that though because I was using my mouse to try to like move my screen so I could see a different part of my screen from what's broke.
Nice.
Squirrel.
That's weird. Hey, it's all good. I was like, oh, she's changing the view. Yeah, this StreamYard app is it's pretty cool actually. What you just gotta practice with it, and you can have things queued up like photographs, uh, videos, and banners to run across the bottom with the say maybe phone numbers or links and stuff like that. And you can really do a lot to customize the feed and make this look actually really professional the more you practice with it.
Oh yeah, I'll eventually get there. My daughter had some softball this summer, so I took a break in between streams because there was just too much going on and I couldn't give it my full attention. But now, like, I've
Right.
kind of been playing with things and I've been doing this other podcast with like three ladies from Canada. Uh, so, like, as we're getting better in doing that, I feel like I'm getting better in doing some of this. So
Yeah.
as I go forward, hopefully I get looking a little bit more professional with everything.
Oh, it's gonna be a journey. Trust me. It's and it's a beautiful thing. I think the main thing, the important thing, is your heart and that you're sharing from that space. That authentic space, because that's where the magic happens, no matter what. And, I like when Cynthia reached out about this. I was like, absolutely. I'm always down to you know meet somebody new. You want to be a podcaster, and I'm glad to be a resource for you or help you
Yeah.
along your journey anyway. And I wish you happy podcasting, man, because we need people to recover out loud. We need people to be, vocal about this journey,
I
and
kind of
because it
stopped
looks,
for a while. I got shamed into it. I was in a well, I'll just say it was like a political cult online, basically, and I was shamed for being excited about my sobriety a lot, and
well,
like I just kind of faded off. And then at a certain point, I was like, "Why the fuck?" I know people in real life that actually give a shit about this. Why am I fucking around with these idiots online? Like I can be talking to people
yeah,
I actually know, and but then I was like, but I like this aspect of it too. I like getting to know other people in a different way. You're still in Minnesota, even though you're not in my area, but you're still in Minnesota. I come down
hmm
to the cities occasionally. Fuck, I should come and hit up a meeting sometime down there. Do you guys do like recovery picnics and things like that down there? Do you got a home meeting?
oh, there's always stuff going on. I mean, they don't call Minnesota the land of 10,000 treatment centers for nothing. So there's always picnics and campouts and conventions and all sorts of fun stuff going on, recovery related, fellowship too, events. There's some like weekly fellowship things that happen every week. Like uh, Thursday night bowling at Blainbrook, and there's like Friday nights volleyball, and then there's like Tuesday night. There's a meeting that does dodgeball and tug of war, and sometimes they play kickball and stuff. And yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like that going on all the time. My home groups. currently is Grace Recovery, which is a meeting that I was part of the team that started that. That was when I first kind of started my faith journey. I was really heavily involved in service work through some of the ministries of the church that I was going to, and then we started a recovery meeting there, and now it's still going. That was in 2017 when we started it, and I've been away from that for a couple of years, but I've been going back again recently to that. And then I got a Monday night group, Bare Knuckle Boys. It's a men's meeting, AA.
You guys get all Fight Club or what?
No, it's just the name of it. I don't know. But it's a good group of dudes, man. We do a lot of things together, golf outings, hunting trips, camping trips. Like once a month, a different guy will host at their house and cook out for everybody, and we'll like do bonfire meetings in the fall. And then Friday night, there's another one that I go to. It's called Life Recovery at North Star, and that's an awesome one as well. So, but there's so many meetings in this state. It's insane, and I like to explore. I always just joke around and say I'm a total meeting whore. I love going to random ass meetings. Like when I'm at work out of town, I'm like, I don't know, 200 something miles away from home right now. I love this shit because I can find a meeting, and no matter where you go, you find your family. It's like there's always. You might walk in the door feeling a little awkward, like I don't know anybody, but you always leave feeling like, hell yeah, they were cool as fuck.
You feel good.
Yeah.
I don't go to meetings too often anymore, but when I do, I have my ones that I go to, and I leave and I'm like, fuck yeah, that made me feel good. Why did I stop doing this?
Right. Oh, dude, that's like my sponsor says. He's like, I'll go limping in and I'll come skipping out. Yeah. And he says that's always the most powerful meetings is when you're trying to talk yourself into not going, you probably should, but you just really don't fucking want to. You're not feeling it, but you drag your ass there begrudgingly. Yeah, those are always the best
go to a meeting is when you don't want to go.
Yeah, those are the ones that you leave with goosebumps, and you're just like,
or in tears. Shit. I'm a crier.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. Like, what? That's fucking nuts. That was what we ended up talking about in there. It's like it's exactly what you need, and that's that spiritual life. That's that spiritual aspect of recovery that I love so much, and it doesn't matter what a person's belief system is or what your higher power is. It's like if you do the work to rid yourself of the guilt and shame and resentment and anger, and you can let go of all that stuff and clean all the junk out of your life that you don't need to carry. We choose to carry it, and it weighs us down, and it complicates our existence. When you can let go of all that stuff, you make room for a spiritual aspect to enter into your life. And then when you're surrounding yourself with people in recovery who are on a spiritual journey, a personal development journey, it's going to come at you and you're just going to be like, because that sticks with you, man. That stuff sticks to you. It's not like the feelings that we had of euphoria when we were getting high and they would wear off quickly, and then we'd feel like absolute shit for like 3 times as long as the euphoria, right?
Right.
Super short and fleeting. No, this kind of stuff, this recovery shit, it gives you it gives you benefits that stick with you, you know, real pride, real feelings of joy and peace. Have you ever sat and just felt like this peace and you're like, you can like bask in that peace,
Every
right?
time I go up to every time I go up to Lake Place, it's a treatment center up here. I used to do alumni weekends, and I went. I never went to treatment there. I went up there codependent on some dude
Really?
going to meetings up there because I'm gonna fix him. I'm gonna fix him. It's like, no, that's not what happened. But what did happen is I kept going back and I met some really fucking good people. Cynthia is one of them, actually. I met her while she was in treatment up there, and I was going to alumni meetings, and like the ways that she's changed, or even I've changed, these people, it's good to see these people still going, still doing good things, still making shit happen. It makes me happy when I see those
I
things.
remember Cynthia, man. I remember Cynthia when she was living in a van outside of my buddy's mom's house.
Oh shit.
I remember Cynthia. I remember Cynthia when she was crashing at my place half the nights of the week. You know, just back in the day, she was so young then too, and to see what she's done, and she's another one. She had no idea how to start a recovery community organization. She didn't know. She just knew that they needed something like that up there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not taking credit by any means, but I know I introduced her to a couple people who have probably been pretty instrumental and very helpful with her in that process, that journey. And if that's the case, I'm grateful that I was able to make those connections. You know,
Right.
networking. Remember, I said that earlier. It's so
She's
key. Like the
great.
more people you,
She just helped with my little sister. My little sister got herself in some trouble and was taking care of business. She got out of Shakopee, and I helped facilitate between her and Cynthia on, because she was like, I need treatment after I get out of here.
right?
I need to go to treatment. I need to go straight there. I don't want to get out
Yeah.
and then have to wait somewhere and then maybe not go to treatment because I decided not to follow through. And Cynthia helped
Yep.
her with that. And even people up, she got her Rule 25 back from a lady that gave me one of my first Rule 25s.
Right?
Know?
Yeah, if any of you guys are watching this and you're up in the northern regions of the state of Minnesota, look for Mission Restart, man. Reach out to Cynthia if you need help with anything. She can help you or she can point you in the right direction. Networking, right? Like we all know somebody who can help with that. And, you know, Wellness in the Woods is another one up there that's really great with Joe, the awesome organization.
Wellness in the Woods? Where is that at?
Yeah, I don't know where it's located, but
I'll look
they have a
it up.
website. They have a website. Just look up Wellness in the Woods. It's northern Minnesota. It's they do like trainings and stuff. They go around the state and do like mental health first aid, recovery coach academies, and I know they have a facility up there where they offer a myriad of recovery supports, peer support. I'm sure probably some harm reduction stuff. Really similar to the same thing that Cynthia's doing with Mission Restart. It's like a
Okay.
recovery community organization. So, and that's the beauty of it because there's always room for more facets and ways that we can help another person.
Right.
Not everybody has the same needs. What they need is people that are willing to step alongside them and help them discover for themselves what they think they need to get well. And then we can support them in that journey and we can point them in the direction of the proper resources to help them get there.
Absolutely.
Introductions is I've helped more people through simple introductions. than anything, because I might not, I know my limitations. I'm like, well, I don't know much about that pathway or that type of therapy, but I know somebody who does,
Yeah, I know a
and
guy.
always somebody will come right to mind. I'm like, you fucking need to meet so and
Ain't
so
that funny how
for
it
sure.
changes from like, yeah, can you get me this pill? Can you give me that drug? To, hey, do you know somebody who can help me with this sort of thing or that sort of thing? And it being about recovery versus how can I get high?
Yep. Amen. Amen. And the best part is that because it's like when you're thinking of the contrast of being an addict or an alcoholic or a drug dealer or a junkie to being like a person in recovery or like a recovery coach or something. It's like we there's nothing wrong with having an addictive personality. It's just recovery teaches us how to harness it and then channel it in positive ways because we're all still that way. Like
Chasing
our
squirrels.
nature, our natures are still so addictive, and we go hard at everything we do. Right,
Yeah.
so it's like that hustler mentality is still there. You're just using it for good. Like it's actually kind of like a superpower. If once you can find that shift, find your purpose in this
Went
journey.
from
First,
dope
you got to
dealer
find
to
your
hope
healing.
dealer.
Yeah, there you go. I will put that out there. First, you got to find your healing,
Yep.
and then you can really help people in an effective way. But, you know, please, do the right thing for you. 'Cause whoever you are, if you're watching this, you deserve to be free of all these things that are weighing you down in your life. And there's freedom to be had. It's out here for any of us. And there's lots of different ways to get it. You don't have to fit inside some box. So don't let nobody tell you you can't. Can't is the real C word. I'll say that. We can
What's
all
the
do it.
C
We can all
word?
get there. See you next Tuesday.
Oh, hey, that's what we say at the end of our stream on Tuesdays. Us ladies, we say, "See you next Tuesday." We actually have
Right.
a
So
here's a little
then you know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Here's our little outro. I'm gonna play you our outro just so you can see it.
Okay.
Maybe the next step in your healing journey is to go around calling people fucking cunts. That is all for today's therapy session. I'll see you next Tuesday.
It's just an awkward moment with a puppet. Are you there? Or are you frozen?
I'm, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, it froze up when you tried to play it. I could see the
Oh
puppet, but I couldn't hear it or nothing. But you'll have to send me it later.
no. Okay.
Shoot me the TikTok and Messenger. But it looks silly as hell. But yeah, no, can't is the real C.
I always say can't. There's no such thing as can't. It's just you're unwilling to. You're unwilling to do that.
Right. Or like Master Yoda says, do or do not. There is no try.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
I'm a nerd. Can't
Well,
take credit. It's all Yoda.
it has been an hour. I don't know if you're.
It has.
I think it was a pretty productive stream. I think we went over pretty much Everything, unless
Yeah, I
you
mean,
have any burning desires, anything to get off your
no,
chest.
no, I'm good. I mean, I'm grateful for this life, and it just never ceases to amaze me the further I get away from my youth that I was so consumed and so blind for so long. You know, it's just awesome being uh, able to really like grow and just be actively engaged in my own learning and growing today, you know, and being able to be a present person for the people I care about. It's just a blessing. So, and I'm glad I was able to be on the show with you and get to meet you. I know Cynthia is, she's awesome, and I'm so proud of her. But yeah, I just can't say enough good things about her and what she's doing over there at Mission Restart. So, um, yeah, I don't know if anybody wants to get a hold of me. I'm easy to find. I'm on Facebook, Threads, Insta, whatever. You know, Jason Rudeen, and or you can find me on the Way Out Podcast.com. Wayoutcast.com is actually what it is. And yeah, easy to find. So, and I always answer. I don't never skip. If somebody's trying to reach out and I don't even know your name, never met you before in my life, I'll talk to you. So you're not alone, not unless you choose to be.
Nice. Oh, we got
Yeah.
a nice interview. Thank you too, sir, for tuning in and watching.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks.
that is about all I have for the night. I'm gonna get off of here and pour some candles. I make candles. I have a candle business
That's
that I
awesome.
started a couple years ago, so I'm getting
I
ready to
like
pour a new
candles.
batch. Well, you can look
I might
me
have
up
to
on
buy
my
some of you.
Facebook. Yeah, just let me
Okay.
know. And I have stuff on my Etsy, but I haven't put anything new on there yet. So over the next week or so, I'm gonna start shooting those ads off. But yeah, take a
Sounds
look
good.
at
Well,
it.
I'll probably buy some candles for you.
All right. All right. Well, you have a good night, sir. And
All
I
right.
will talk to you
Thanks
again
for having
soon,
me.
hopefully. Yeah. See ya.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this stream. I know I did. I thought it was a pretty good conversation. I don't have an outro on here anymore, so I think I'll just do the do the closer for Real Housewives, I guess. Anyway, see you next Tuesday.
But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning to them. Fear is a tool. They think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadows.